Next up, we're going to hear from Japan Gold and their chairman and CEO, John Proust. So, John.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. I'm going to introduce you to Japan, which seems like an unlikely destination for a lot of people for gold exploration or mining, and to Japan Gold being the first mover under a new regime in Japan, and hopefully a restart of the gold mining industry. A little bit of background about Japan. The gold mining industry started in earnest back in the 7th century. There's a wonderful history of gold mining throughout the country, right up till 1943, when there was a government moratorium that was put on gold mines and they were all closed. So about 76, 78 mines were closed at that time. After the war, only 12 mines reopened. And those mines, some of them became quite solid producers. Between 1 million to 2.5 million ounces were produced out of 5 of the mines. But by the 1970s, with the gold standard decoupling under the Nixon era, most of those mines closed and the industry went into a dormant phase. There became a cultural belief there that everything that was in Japan had been found. So all gold had been discovered in Japan. And I could ascribe to that if you looked at what was poking out of the ground. Certainly probably a prospector had hit it with a hammer at some point in the last number of centuries. But that was all overturned in 1981 when the Geological Survey of Japan, the precursor to JOGMEC, drilled a blind hole in the southern island of Kyushu in 1981, and the Hishikari mine was discovered. And the Hishikari mine, a lot of people even today aren't aware of that mine, but certainly one of the richest gold mines in the world that's owned by Sumitomo Metal Mining. The Hishikari mine is an asset that was 8.4 million ounces at 47.3 grams per ton. So that's a pretty startling set of statistics. Sumitomo's mined over 7.4 million ounces of that so far, and they've got another, well, they're mining at a rate of about 200,000 ounces a year. So that overturned that myth that there wasn't any discoveries to be made because it was a blind discovery that was made at about 200 meters, so very shallow. Still not a lot of exploration. The Japanese government had incented the mining houses to go abroad and bring natural resources back to Japan. And there just really wasn't any internal mining, and it was a closed society. So with the exception of some minor joint ventures, there really was no international companies active in Japan at the time, until 2012. In 2012, the mining law was changed in Japan, and for the first time in the country's history, they allowed foreign companies to come in and own mineral exploration rights 100% or mining rights 100%. And that's when Japan Gold was formed. We're the first mover. We were the first company to go there, and we were very fortunate that one of our directors had been the BHP, the head of the BHP Global Gold Group, and 30 years ago had done a significant study on Japan to look at the merits of the old historic mines that hadn't been reopened and where the new opportunities were. So we had a lot of solid information there. And 3 years of my life was basically gathering information together. We were able to obtain the Japanese government database. We started overlaying our information over top of that. We found out that a number of the key areas, in fact, all the key areas that we were interested in were open and available. At the same time, we assisted in the new permitting system that was coming out. It was a little bit awkward when it came out, and so we started providing guidance in terms of how that system could be made to be more globally competitive and attract foreign investor dollars. And they took all of our suggestions and incorporated those. So at that point, after 3 years of work, we took 2 years and we applied for everything throughout the whole country that we liked. And ultimately, we've ended up with 17 projects throughout the country. So I'll just take you through where we're at now. Our forward-looking statements. So our share structure, just to touch on that, we have 68 million shares outstanding. We have a very small market cap of about $15 million. We did a $7 million financing when we first went public, and then we put in another $5 million of our own money after that. So our group owns 53% of the company as it currently stands today. The warrants and the options are all still exercisable at 40 cents as well. So that's what the company looks like currently now. Here's Japan. The areas that are highlighted in Japan, and you have the northern island of Hokkaido, the long central island of Honshu, and the southern island of Kyushu. The areas that are highlighted there are the historic areas of high-grade gold mining, again, going back hundreds of years. Oops. Here's the significant gold production since 1970, or since the Second World War, pardon me. The Hishikari mine, of course, is the anomaly that came on in 1981 at the top, was discovered in 81 and came on in 1985. But the other mines, the 12 mines below that, you can see the production, you can see the grade that they were looking at as well, and you can see that most of them were closed in the 1970s. Here's the map of Japan as it looks today, with Japan Gold being the first mover. We collaborated with 3 universities in Japan, Hokkaido University, Akita University, and Kyushu University, where we were able to tap into decades of exploration and work and studies that the universities had done, a wonderful academic treasure trove that no one had ever realized on. And so we were able to tap into that. The universities were kind enough to take us to incredible areas of Japan and show us areas for new discovery. And those made up part of our portfolio that we applied for. The 4 areas that are in red are not what our principal targets are. They're lithocaps, or the evidence of porphyries. But we did those in conjunction with a study done by Akita University. And the only 4 lithocap projects that were available in Japan that we could identify, we applied for all 4 of them, and we were granted all 4 of them. The rest of them, all the yellow projects, are all high-grade epithermal, so quartz vein type projects that we're looking for. I'll just quickly take you through, this is Kyushu, the southern island. The light green areas are the areas that have geologic prospectivity. In the southern area, that's where the Hishikari mine is located, and you can see its statistics and has neighboring mines that have had, again, high grade and good production numbers. The red areas are our key areas that Kyushu University guided us to and had identified as the best exploration targets there. And again, in the northern light green area, that is a third target that we acquired close to another old mine that had been very successful. I'm going to take you right up to Hokkaido in the interest of time. In that U-shaped area, the light green area at the top, there are 2 parallel graben systems there that host a wonderful endowment of opportunity. The driving mine there historically was the Konami mine, which was a producer that produced almost 2.5 million ounces, owned by Sumitomo as well, and closed in 1974. One of our projects just directly to the south of that is a project that borders on the southern end of the Konami mine, and is where the discovery was actually made. 700,000 ounces were produced there, and no one explored the veins going south, and that's one of our targets. But I'm going to take you to a project called the Akutahara Project, just south east of that. Here's an outline of the Akutahara Project, and this will just evidence why we've gone there. This is just under 200 square kilometers, and each one of the white labels that you see there are a high-grade underground gold mine or significant working that was closed in 1943, never reopened, and virtually has never had a drill hole put into it. Under our whole portfolio, we have 40 high-grade underground gold mines or significant workings that have never been reopened since 1943. The area that's in the center, there's an oval area that now is showing that several of those mines are linked. So we're seeing mines that are combined together in terms of large systems, which is what we're looking for. So we're not looking for a few little ounces, we're looking for large systems that could be much larger scale opportunities. And I'm going to take you to the center one there, the Kitano mine. This is an artist sketch that I found in a local library there. We have a large established base in Hokkaido. We bought 10 hectares of land on the main road. I imported 3 diamond core drill rigs. We house 9 geologists, support staff. We're fully operational there in the country. And this is a picture of the town. The large hill that you see there is the Kitano Hill that had a thick layer of sinter lying over the top of it that had gold interbedded in it, and had a thick layer of clay at the bottom that was running over 5 grams per ton. And this is from 1937, a sketch that showed a 500-ton-a-day facility. It showed a railway line that was bringing ore from further down the ridge, an aerial tramway that was bringing it up to the top, and it was being scaled up to 2,000 tons a day when the mine was closed and never reopened. I'm just going to touch on our management team. There's myself, Dr. Mike Andrews, who's a global, or a geologist and a global explorer, has been very successful in the Philippines and Indonesia, discovering high-grade underground gold mines and putting them into production. John Carlisle was the gentleman that was with the BHP Global Gold Group. Mitsuhiko Yamada was the chief executive of Sumitomo Corporation, their global minerals division. And while he was in that position, he was responsible for a $1.3 billion investment to build the Bata Hijau mine, which Bob Gallagher, my next director, was the president of Newmont at that time. Dr. Salier is a well-known mining executive as well. So we have a very strong team. I'll just touch on one other item here. Takashi Kuriyama was the Sumitomo head of global exploration and Sumitomo Metal Mining, and he joined us upon his retirement at age 65. He joined us as our general manager. I'm just going to skip to our very last slide, which is basically what is our plan. Our plan now is twofold. Number one, we're being contacted by a number of the major international mining companies to look at joint ventures. They found out that Japan, a first world country with this kind of endowment, is open for business, and then that we've taken this strong dominant position. So they've asked us to participate or in some fashion, and so we've made an announcement to that effect, and we're quite active in the joint venture process. And then we are also well scaled up to go ahead and drill 5 to 6 mines this year, where we'll be confirming mineralization and then exploring underneath and around those mines to look for large new discoveries. Thank you very much for your time.